How's it going? My name is Jumpy, and today I'm going to talk about the movie Lost Highway, which was released in 1997. It was directed by David Lynch, who also co-wrote the movie with Barry Gifford. I was already familiar with David Lynch's work before I watched this, so I wasn't too surprised with what I got with Lost Highway. Over the years, I've seen Mulholland Drive, which I loved, and also Eraserhead, The Elephant Man, and Blue Velvet, which are all really good. I watched Dune recently, but I didn't want to do a full video on it. Basically, everyone in that movie just wants to find some spice. I haven't seen the new Dune movies, but Lynch's version obviously crammed way too much into one film, and some things are not explained that well. But I enjoyed a lot of the ridiculous shit it has in it. Stop listening for a moment if you care about Dune spoilers. I have no idea what was up with needing to milk the cat. I liked the part with the homing syringe, and the scene with the levitating dude losing control and flying into the worm's mouth was the funniest thing ever. It's Lynch's worst that I've seen, but I'm glad that I watched it. If you're already curious about it, you'll get something out of it, but otherwise I wouldn't really recommend it. But now I need to talk about the TV series Twin Peaks. I watched the first 2 seasons about a decade ago, and I really enjoyed the show. Lynch co-created it with Mark Frost, and he directed a few episodes. Recently, I rewatched both seasons. The first is amazing. It's very funny and quirky at times, melodramatic at others, often weird, and occasionally flat-out terrifying. The second season is notoriously less well-received, and it's better and worse than I remembered. The first 9 episodes are just as good as season 1, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. But then it becomes an uneven mess. Some parts are good, like most of the Agent Cooper scenes, but some get boring, like James's story. Others started off good, but then I completely lost interest, like Nadine's and then Shelley and Bobby's. And then Ben Horne's was just terrible in my opinion. It slowly starts to pick back up, and the Lynch-directed finale is so fucking good. After that, Lynch directed a prequel movie called Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, which I watched for the first time. I almost did a full video on that film, but I decided against it, so here are my quick thoughts. The first 30 minutes of it are definitely in line with the show. A woman named Teresa Banks is murdered and her body is found in a small town. A couple FBI agents come in to investigate. Then it gets really fucking weird before jumping ahead a year to Laura Palmer and the events leading up to her being killed, which is where the first episode of the TV show begins. It's very dark and depressing. Even though you know the ending going in, it fleshes out some of the characters and events, and is just an all-around excellent film with lots of interesting stylistic choices and surprises. I'd give it a 10 out of 10. Then we get to season 3 of the show, which is a limited event series called Twin Peaks: The Return. Unlike the movie, this didn't exist when I watched the first 2 seasons for the first time, so I actually had an excuse for not watching it before. It aired in 2017. All 18 episodes were directed by David Lynch and co-written by Lynch and Mark Frost. I'm just so glad everyone came back for this, and it's a wonderful finale to Lynch's career. I cannot recommend this show enough. But now, I need to focus on Lost Highway. The film begins with a very simple but striking opening credit sequence. A camera mounted to a car speeds down a desert road in the middle of the night, illuminated by the headlights. The camera bobs up and down along the way enough to be off-putting, and the credits fly in. It made me think of the end of Terminator 2, except that one is smoother and calm, whereas Lost Highway shows that things are going to get bumpy. We're then introduced to a married couple, Fred, played by Bill Pullman, and Renee, played by Patricia Arquette. Their relationship isn't in the best place. One day, they received an unmarked bubble mailer package with a videotape inside. They pop it in the VCR and it shows the outside of their house. They don't think much of it. When they receive a second tape that shows them sleeping inside their home, they call the police and some detectives arrive. After this, they go to a party at someone else's house, and Fred meets a mysterious man who claims he's at Fred and Renee's house. The man hands Fred a phone and tells Fred to call his own home. Fred does this, and he hears the voice of the mysterious man standing in front of him on the line. He also says that Fred invited him in like he's a fucking vampire or something. The scene is very creepy, and the movie just gets weirder from here. There are some genuinely terrifying moments throughout Lost Highway, and I absolutely love its atmosphere and how it made me feel. Parts felt like something was going to pop out at me, even though this isn't a jump scare movie, and I just never knew where things were going to go. The dialogue is pretty simplistic and also stilted, as is the acting overall, but it's intentional and effective because it always demanded my attention. There are a few parts that are very, very funny in a dry way, like Renee's reaction to the first videotape being, well, maybe the realtor made this. It's just so wrong, but there's no way they can explain away the second tape. And there's another scene where a character is taken for a car ride and things get so out of control that it becomes absurd. It's hilarious and one of my favorite sequences in the film. Earlier I mentioned the character James in season 2 of Twin Peaks having a boring storyline, which David Lynch wasn't involved in. Lost Highway has some elements that are similar to what happens with James on a surface level, but this version is much more convoluted, just plain weird and interesting in how things play out. I know Lynch wasn't happy with parts of season 2 of Twin Peaks, so I'm wondering if it was intentionally similar on Lynch's part. And maybe this is him showing how he'd do that storyline in his own style. The movie also contains a lot of sexual content and is very spicy. Not as spicy as Dune, though. For the most part, I think I understand what happens in Lost Highway, like this person does this, or this person is now this. It's not too hard to follow in that regard. But the movie doesn't always explain why these events transpire. I get why this can be frustrating and unsatisfying for some people if a movie doesn't give concrete answers and leaves a lot open to interpretation. And it's not always my thing, but it really works here because the other elements like the creepy atmosphere and the occasional comedy kept me engaged. This is a movie that really stuck with me. It has a lot of, to me, immediately iconic images, and this is the scariest movie I've seen in a while, and I can't stop thinking about it. I'm gonna give this a 10 out of 10. I think this is a masterpiece, and it's currently my favorite David Lynch movie of the ones I've seen. Even a little ahead of Twin Peaks' Fire Walk with Me. If you've never seen any David Lynch before, I'd recommend starting with Twin Peaks since it's more accessible and fun, at least in the first 2 seasons. But if Lost Highway does sound really appealing and you're feeling up for something bizarre and a little challenging, go for it. Next week, I'll take a look at this movie's sequel, The Lost Highway: Jurassic Park, starring Laura Dern of all people. Take care, everyone, and thanks for watching.